Hello and welcome to my channel. Today we are doing the second episode of King Reviews. Today we'll be reviewing Forza Horizon 4. Oh yes, Forza Horizon 4. If you've been around my channel for some time, you may notice I'm not a great fan of this game. However, there are a few good things about this game, but there's definitely a few bad things about this game. At the end of the day, I do still play the game every week. I only play it once a week just to do the festival playlist. But I do still play it for a couple of reasons. First of all, because I put a lot of effort into the game at first, I feel like I don't want to just cancel playing the game, just pull it out of my life. I just feel like I've put so much time and effort into that game. Even spent £80 pre-ordering the game before it came out. I've got all the DLCs. I should really use it. Secondly, the car list is absolutely amazing in that game, and it's really pleasant to see some really rare cars in that game and to attain some of these rare cars, despite the car sounds maybe not being so good. And I still have a slight glimmer of hope that as they've now transferred Forza Horizon 4 to the Xbox Series X, they've made it compatible for that system, that maybe we'll see some more updates later on, and possibly a slim chance that we might see some car sound updates, but that's very unlikely. So, as you may know, this game is not my favourite game ever. If you've seen my channel before, you may notice I get quite agitated with this game, quite angry with this game. It can really wind me up on occasions, just because of the way how it's been built and the lack of effort that's been put into the game in certain areas. So, today I want to discuss the good and bad points about Forza Horizon 4 and why I think it's not as good as Forza Horizon 2 and Forza Horizon 3. So first of all, let's talk about the car list. The car list. Oh my god, the car list is amazing in this game. It is the main reason really why I do return to the game. It's because there's just so many rare cars in it. There's like these 1930s racers, the Bugatti types, and the Mercedes SLR Sterling Mosses, and the Alfa Romeo racers. There's so many different things that are just you do not see in other games, and it's fantastic to see them. And even cars like the Bentley Turbo R as well. It's just amazing, rare cars you'd never expect to see in these sort of games, and they are here, and it's just amazing to see. The car list does have a bit of a problem, but we'll talk about that in a minute. But the car list overall is fantastic. It's one of the best car lists ever. I'm not sure which has the best car list. Is it Gran Turismo 6 or whether it's Forza Horizon 4? But it's definitely a good toss-up between the two. Another good thing about this game is the graphics. They can be a bit hyper-realistic in some occasions, like the saturation can be a bit much, the colours can be a bit too bright, and sometimes it just doesn't look quite real. It looks like something out of some sort of sci-fi film. But overall, though, the graphics look fantastic. In certain sunlights and certain angles, it looks fantastic. But not quite as good as Gran Turismo Sport, though, because that's on a new level. But the graphics are really good in this game, nonetheless. One also good thing about this game is the free car list, free car updates and stuff. Every week, the festival playlist, the new addition to the game, has introduced a couple. I think it was about a year after the release. We got the festival playlist, which you can unlock cars through, unique cars that you can't buy through the dealerships. And it's a good way of bringing customers and players back. It's just every week you bring in new cars that gives them a reason to come back and earn a new car. And I love that, and I love the fact that it's free as well, because who can complain about free DLCs at the end of the day? So that's fantastic. I mean, it's really kept the game alive, especially for how long it has been going for. It's been a much longer life cycle than Forza Horizon 3, for example. The other thing I really like about Forza Horizon 4 is the custom race creator. They did have a similar sort of thing in the previous Forza games, like Horizon 3, but it really hasn't been done at the best extent as Horizon 4. Horizon 4's one is fantastic. You can create your own races. There's even this new Super 7, I think you've called it, where you can put like loads of obstacles and random stuff on the map, which not really my kind of thing, but with just creating a race, it's fantastic for me to go back and enjoy cars without the traffic or worrying about the weather. Because you may see in the background videos that I'm driving around in certain cars on a certain circuit that I've made, and I've always liked to have it sunny and summer and have no traffic, so I can just enjoy the cars without crashing into all the civilians driving around. So the custom race creator is fantastic. I love that, and it's a really good addition to the game. The other thing I really like about Horizon 4 is just the additional fixes from previous installments, like the fast free car selector. So you go in the pause menu, you can select car, and you can get a car on the spot for free. Where in Forza Horizon 3, you could do that, but it cost like 20 grand a time or something like that. So it really made that pointless. So I'm really pleased they improved that. Certain things as well, like having the search option in the garage, so you can just search for your car company, the car you're looking for, rather than having to scroll through all the cars and all the companies like you had to do in previous games. Also, in a way, I quite like the supply and demand algorithm for the auction house. I mean, it does make it more worthwhile collecting these rarer cars, because then you can sell them on for a lot of money. And all the cars that are not that common, people can't charge extortionate money for, just because it's got a paint job on it. It can be a bit abusive at times, where you got cars that you maybe didn't have enough time to turn up to complete the festival playlist, and then you got to pay 20 million quid for a certain car. Bit problematic. But then on the other hand, they do reset very often. That you do get a lot of the cars come back every week, every couple of weeks or so. So that's really good. As I mentioned before, I love the festival playlist idea. The festival playlist is fantastic. As I said before, it gives us a reason to come back to play the game, and it livens up the races. Because for myself, when I play Forza Horizon 3 and 2 and all that, I don't do any races, because I don't enjoy doing the races. I enjoy the cars and the car sounds. So I don't deliberately select a race. But then if there's races available to do to win cars, there's more of an incentive to do them, and it makes it more interesting to do. So I love that. I think that's a fantastic option, and yeah, fantastic, good idea. The last good thing about this game is the fact that you can play it offline. The bit of a grudge I have with Forza, with the Crew, and the Crew 2 and Gran Turismo Sport, is the fact that it's online only. I really hate online only games, but luckily for this game, you can play it offline permanently, which is fantastic. You can play the game and there's no problem with it being offline. The downside is that if you have never had internet connection and you just plug the game in, the game's not very well polished. Definitely a lot of glitches at the first half of the game, and also you won't be able to gain access to the unlockable cars like the VW ID electric racer thing and Porsche 928s, and the list is endless of the cars that we've updated since then, and they only be attainable for doing the festival playlist. You will lose, and that's the really big problem of having games that do update like that, is that people that either don't have the chance to play online with online connection will lose out on these cars. But the good thing is, with myself, who's got internet now, attained the car, but then I've attained it forever now. I don't sell my cars very often in Forzas, unless I've got duplicates, and I do tend to sell them. But at least then I've got the cars, and if they kill the servers in 10 years' time, I can still play the game as long as my console isn't corrupted or anything like that. I can still play the game. I've still got those cars, and that's what I really love about this game versus Gran Turismo Sport and the Crew 2. Now, they're all the good bits, which are quite good bits, I must concede, but there are quite a lot of bad things. Quite a lot of bad things about this game. The list is quite long. So, the problem with the game, let's just get it over with. The car sounds. Oh my god, the car sounds are horrific. They're absolutely horrific. The whole reason why I bought an Xbox One was because the car sounds in Forza Horizon 3 were amazing. I watched a video, I think it was the Racer Monkey, I watched a video from him, and I thought, oh my god, listen to these, and look at these rare cars, listen to the sound of these cars, they're amazing. And I've loved Horizon 3. Horizon 3's car sounds are fantastic. It's got to be the best in the business. The BMW M3 E92 is really accurate and fantastic, and there's many examples like that are really accurate in Horizon 3. Moving on to Horizon 4, completely killed it. The BMW M3 92 sounds horrible in that game. It sounds horrific. So you've gone from Horizon 3 that sounds amazing, ultra realistic, to then sounding horrifically horrible. It is really demotivational, because I never drive that car now because of that. There's other cars as well that have just got the same sound over and over and over and over and over again. I know they did do that on the occasion in Horizon 2 and 3, but it was on an occasion. you maybe had like maybe 10 cars out of 600 that had the same sound, versus Horizon 4, which is endless amount of cars with the same noise. There's even cars that don't sound right at all, like the Honda Civic's got the same, the what was it, about 2012 Civic? I'm not quite sure the code name for that. It's got the same sort of engine sound as like a Renault, and you think, really, how's that possible? It's even one of the worst of them as well is the Bentley Turbo R. I know it was an awesome car to have in the game, but it's got a W12 sound to it. The W12 sound is perfectly fine for the Bentley's Continental Speed, but not good for a Turbo R. It's got a V8, not a W12, and it sounds like a W12. I don't understand it. I really don't understand it. It really winds me up. And as you know, if you played my videos before where I've tried out new cars in Horizon 4, I just get disappointed and angry every time. The car sounds are terrible in that game. They put really little effort into it, and it really ruins the entire game, especially when the previous game sounded so good. With that rant over with. Another problem with this game is the airfield length. I know that maybe their intention of this was to stop players from just doing drag races in the same place all the time. They've made this beautiful map and they want people to use the map. They don't want it to go like focus on the same place all the time. But if that's what players want to do, don't take it away from them. The quality of the airfield is terrible. I know it's meant to be like an old World War II airfield from Britain, but it's a game at the end of the day. Make it longer, make it better. Even make Heathrow Airport instead or something like that. That'd be a really long runway, nice tarmac, nice flat tarmac. That'd be really cool, and I think that'd be something that'd been really popular if they did do that. The other trouble is that it had loads of obstacles on the airfield and a railway going through it. How stupid is that? Having a railway go through an airfield. I mean, that's just ridiculous. Especially trying to use it as a drag strip. You've got to try and dodge the train, and it's really rough and it's not good for high performance cars. And then it's really short as well, so you can't go into any sort of top speed. Then the argument with that is to go on the motorway on there, but on the motorway there's loads of bends, so you can't really hit 250 miles an hour without crashing. So yeah, the airfield is a real big bugbear with that game, and I know their intention was to try and make people use the rest of the map, but then now you've taken a feature away from them. And me myself, I use the airfield all the time in Horizon 3, and now we can't do. So I feel like that's a bit of a problem with that game. Another problem, don't get me started too much on this, the Lego DLC. Oh, the Lego DLC. Oh dear. Oh dearie dear me. Oh dear. I don't even want to start thinking about that. What to say, really? Storm Island on Fortune Island, sorry, that's what I meant. Storm Island was Horizon 2. So Fortune Island was fantastic. I love Fortune Island. The way you had to go around finding all the treasures and all that sort of stuff was really interesting. I loved the way how they sort of brought something new into the whole series. I thought it was fantastic. The road was really good as well. Nice squilly drift roads. It was fantastic. A fantastic map. Quite good cars with that one as well. I think you got like the Koenigsegg's and a couple of Lambos with it as well. So that was really good. I love that DLC. And that was early days, so that really gave me hope that this game was going to be really good. Off comes a couple of months later, I think even a year later, the Lego DLC. Oh my god, that just kills immersion. It just kills it completely, stone dead in its tracks. I know it's meant to be something fun, but I wish they just kept it isolated from the main game. Have the Lego cars available in the Lego map, and just have the Lego cars available in that map only. Not having it available in the normal mode, because you'd be doing your race, I'll be feeling immersed, I'll be driving like the Audi R8, which sounds amazing in that game, oddly. Maybe not quite realistic, but it does sound really good. I'll be driving around again, feeling really immersed, and then suddenly I see a Lego Senna or a Lego Chiron or something, and just think, immersion is destroyed. It's just destroyed. I don't understand it. Is it meant to be a realistic game or not? Because I love the realism factor of the previous games. They were fantastic. It's just... They're really good, and then immersion's just completely decimated and destroyed in a million pieces as soon as I see those Lego cars. I've never played the Lego map. I paid for it accidentally through actually pre-ordering the game with the DLCs, because I actually paid for it by pre-ordering it. without knowing what it is, because it just says Map Pack 2, and you think, okay, that'd be cool. You save a bit of money by doing that, but I wish I never did that now, because I pay for the Lego thing and I never used it. I never ever want to use it either. It's a stupid idea. Oh, that out of the way. So as I say about immersion, the Lego DLCs really, the Lego vehicles and even the fake vehicles destroy immersion. Things like the Quartz Regalia, I think it's called, and also the Cyberpunk supercar thing, it completely destroys immersion. I feel that's quite irritating. I mean, you don't even need to own the car yourself, but seeing them driving around then destroys the immersion, because it just doesn't look real. It doesn't feel right. It doesn't look right. It's not meant to be I don't know. It's meant to be. I can see it's meant to be an arcadey style game because it's what Horizon's all about. But still, it's still meant to be sort of realistic in a way. And having those it just destroys immersion, I'm afraid. Another immersion killer is the studio style finished screens and loading screens. What was wrong with just having the nice like cutscenes at the end of Forza Horizon 3, when you finish the race, you just see the car turn up and you stand by the car and it comes up all the wheel spins and stuff. Perfect. No immersion killed. Looks realistic. You can admire your car. Fantastic. This one, you then do dances and emotes and things, which I can see is something they're added into the game to make it a bit more interesting. But why not just have it in real life? So you standing next to your car in at the finish line, and you're doing the dance. Why does it have to be this studio thing? That completely kills immersion as well, and I really don't like that. Actually, it should remain like how it was in Horizon 3, where it was just like it stayed in the real world and it looked real. And yeah, that's the trouble. Immersion's just killed by those couple of factors. So yeah, just please in Horizon 5, get rid of those loading screens and get rid of the Lego vehicles, and I'll be happier. I've got to calm myself down a bit now. So studio style finishing, done that bit. So unlocking clothes via wheel spins and rather than progression is a bit of a pain. I know this has been flagged up a few times by a few YouTubers out there. Clothing items in Test Drive Unlimited 2, one of the best games I've ever played. Clothing items, you had many that are available at first, but they weren't that good. They'd be like, I don't know, like vests and shorts and trainers and that sort of thing. So the basic casual stuff, and then to unlock the rest, you have a complete career mode, or you had to discover like the roads, because when you drive over certain roads, you discover them, and then you get points for discovering the roads. And then after you discovered a certain amount in certain areas, you then win clothing items. Fantastic progression. It's a good way of actually sort of encouraging players to use to do progression, to find these bits of roads, and then unlock clothing items rather than the wheel spins. And also you either win like $5 grand, some shorts, or a McLaren. I mean, that's so stupid. I mean, why not have it in a separate thing? Or even just buying it, just having a clothes shop that you can drive to or go through the menu would be a much better option. Maybe if you were looking for really high value clothing like the Stig outfit or something, that would be alright going through the wheel spins, because it's something a bit iconic and a bit fancy, be quite cool. But having just shorts and a stupid pair of glasses or something, it wasn't very good. The other trouble with the game is there's no structured story. Horizon 1, I did play Horizon 1 briefly, but I couldn't really get on with the buttons and the physics of that game, unfortunately. But the progression of that game is fantastic. Same as Horizon 2 and Horizon 3, where I know in Horizon 3 was probably the game I played the most out of the lot, because Horizon 3 was less repetitive than Horizon 2, because Horizon 2 felt a bit repetitive at the end, because in the end you started doing the same thing. It'd be, I'll do a championship at this place, then drive to the next place, then do a championship there, drive to the next place, do a championship there, and it just got a bit repetitive. But Horizon 3, yeah, it did a little bit repetitive, but it felt felt cleaner every time, if that's the best way I can describe it. Because I know you were sort of like a worker for the Horizon series, like the festivals, but you sort of created the races depending on the cars you were in or whatever. I think maybe what they should do is do a Gran Turismo approach to the story, because a lot of cars in that game are pointless in Horizon 3 and 4. Because you wouldn't want to drive a lot of them because they're slow. For example, the Pill P50s, for example, they're pretty slow. You don't want to drive them on a general occasion, to do races in, you would choose something else. Like if you had a choice between a Lamborghini Aventador or a Pil P50, you choose the Aventador any day on the most occasions. Sometimes you might feel like the Pil P50 every now and again, but to make the Pil P50 worthwhile, what they should have done is had like dedicated championships for it, like how Gran Turismo functions, like with certain championships for like 1970s championships or something like that. That's how they should do Horizon progression. I think that'd be a lot better. But the problem with Horizon 4, there was no structure to it at all. It was just, here's some races, do them, and that was about it. There was not really any sort of progression there. Moving on to the next problem was that the music was very poor and it cannot be fully turned off. The only way, even if you put the music down to the lowest setting, you can still hear it quite predominantly, especially when you go near the festival. And some of them are quite horrific songs anyway. There's no good music in that game at all. I haven't found anything suitable for me anyway. And as I say, you can't fully turn it off. I know there's a setting in the settings where you can go into stream mode, which then cuts all the music out apart. There's one song that plays every time, but you still hear it. It'd be nice if you can turn the music fully off. The next thing is no car meet. I don't know why they got rid of this feature. It's a fantastic feature in Forza Horizon 3 and 2. Horizon 2 is where you turned up when you first joined. Fantastic idea. That was cool. Horizon 3, it was used for like for doing drag races in, and also it was a good place to sort of transition to different cars. If you have it on the airfield and you use the airfield to drive around on quite a lot, it was a great way to go up there, change your car, and come out again. I don't know why they got rid of that feature. Mostly because they probably got that free selector thing through the pause menu that maybe stopped them from doing that. But I still think a car meet would be necessary. And if they do add a car meet into the other Horizon 4 on the next game, make it more realistic and more lifelike. In Horizon 2, you had people playing football in the background, you had people looking around talking about the cars and just admiring the cars. Where in Horizon 3 there was nothing, it was just the cars, which was a little bit disappointing. But in Horizon 4 you don't have it at all, so that's even more disappointing. Moving on to the next thing. Now this is a bit of a debate. Seasons. I'm not sure if I like them or not. I think it's a fantastic idea to make the map look a bit more interesting, but the trouble is, once you've seen it every week for the last couple of years, it still feels pretty much the same. It doesn't feel any different. It's sort of like, okay, you're used to it now. And in many occasions, if you're not like myself, who, as I drive on my racetrack that I made, it's always sunny, it's always no traffic or anything. I don't really suffer with the seasons. Where people who play online and don't do what I do have to suffer with the rain and the snow and all that all the time. And if you're like myself, who likes to not drive convertibles in the rain, it can really stop you from driving certain cars, and also it can get quite annoying. So the seasons is definitely something that is really under debate, and I'm not sure whether that was a good thing or not. It's a good idea to make the races more sort of make a theme for every week for the races to be based upon, and also makes the map a bit fresher. But I think that novelty then wears over time after you've been playing it for so long. The next problem is the physics and handling. Again, a bit of a controversial subject, but I feel the physics were not quite as good as the previous games. Horizon 3 was one of the best physics I've ever played, because you had that sort of free play to do drifts and donuts and everything, unlike Gran Turismo. And also it had some weird way of portraying what the car is doing, and a great way of immersing you into the game. You can sort of understand and feel what the car is doing. I don't know how you sort of feel the way the weight is being shifted round, and you can feel what everything's doing, which you can't in Horizon 4. Horizon 4's it feels a bit vague, and also there seems to be a great what's the word I'm looking for? So the accelerator pedal or the paddles on the controllers are very sensitive. You only need to push it about 20%, and the accelerator's like up to nearly 60%. Which, if you're like myself, who tries to drive as realistic as possible, you need to keep a steady throttle when you're going around a bend. When you're going around higher speed bends, you sort of have it around 20-30% just to keep the weight stable and to keep the car stable. But you can't really do that in Horizon 4 anyway, because you end up just understeering because it's too much power on. So it forces the understeer, and sometimes it forces oversteer. So I don't really feel that was the physics was that great. But they are capable when you just play it as a game rather than try and do it realistically. But I feel first of all that the physics weren't quite as good as other games, which is a bit of a shame. The other downside is a bit of a picky thing, but I feel like there's a bit of a lack of environmental life. There was a problem with that in the previous games, but this one, it just seems like a lot was missing. Like lots of environmental life, like birds, people, aircraft. There wasn't much going on. Test Drive Unlimited 2 was fantastic for that because you had planes flying over every now and again. You had birds. You had there wasn't many people around, but there's more people in Horizon 3 because you can see them running along the beach and in the city and all that, which I think you can see in Horizon 4. But it's mainly the animals and the aircraft you don't see very often. It doesn't feel very realistic. But that's only a small thing, and it's nothing compared to the other problems this game has. So there you go. There's me rattling on for 25 minutes. These are the problems I've got with Forza Horizon 4. Yes, I do still play it every week just because of how much effort I put into it and how much I paid. I paid £80 for the game right at when I bought it, and I'm not going to sell it because I'm going to get tuppence for it now. So I might as well play it. I put the money in, I put the effort in the past. I might as well play it. Also, I feel like there's not going to be a Forza like this again with the more community focused support later on in the next installments of the game of the series. They might not be the same ever again. So it'd be great to have something to have this game as a bit of a history point in knowing how what the games were like. But apart from that, that's the only reason why I play it because I feel like it really doesn't capture the Horizon magic that the previous ones did. So there we go. I wonder what your thoughts are. So let me know down in the comments below. What do you think? Am I talking gibberish, or is this game a bit of a flop? Let me know. So yeah, don't forget, like, subscribe, do the usual, and I'll see you in the next video, hopefully. See you later.